Hello guys. Right, starting a little bit late, a little bit disorganised this evening, so apologies. And thank you everybody that's joined us so far. Again, no advert today, so I expect it to be a slow drip feed of viewers. So apologies, slightly disorganised. Been a bit of a busy day and kind of just got through the last 15-20 minutes and suddenly realised one that I was running late because I was busy chatting. And also I'd forgotten to put out an invite to everybody tonight, so apologies if you're seeing this later and missed out. Not intentional, so sorry about that, guys. But we're here now anyway, we're live as always, so welcome to Wargaming Weekly, your weekly show about all things wargaming related. We talk about news, rumours, tournaments, you name it, we'll talk about it, lists, banter, general chit chat, and hopefully just a good opportunity just to talk hobby with all you wonderful people. So we've got Johnny and we've got Keith in the chat at the moment. Thank you very much, Johnny. Much appreciated to put me in the bracket with Gav Thorpe and Winters. That's an honour. So, but yeah, sounds like you've been having quite a good evening of watching some awesome content. So great stuff, Keith. Legend as always. I can't wait to see what you can do for me with my next army. So yeah, more to come on that, guys. But secret projects and all sorts of good stuff are going on in the background to make sure that we've got loads of fun stuff for you come the start of 8th edition. So before we get into what of course is going to be an 8th edition heavy show, I think it'd be wrong not to talk about the normal goodness with what's going on out there. So of course, from a news point of view, it's quite thin on the ground because the big thing is Games Workshop have announced, before we kind of talk the rumours and stuff, but the official thing is they have announced that end of next week, so Saturday I believe next week, 3rd of June, something like that, someone will correct me if I've got it wrong, the pre-orders will go live for Warhammer 40,000 8th edition, which is huge. So all that build up, all that slow little drip feed of exciting stuff is coming to a head, and we know now we are only 3 weeks away from getting our hands on those wonderful new rules, armies, all sorts of absolutely cool stuff. So wicked! I cannot wait. But that's been the major big news. As far as tournaments, and I am going to talk about this as well in quite a lot of depth tonight, is this weekend is Warhammer Fest. I will be going, and so will loads of other really cool people. I can't wait to catch up with as many people as I can. The social side of Warhammer Fest is what I'm looking forward to absolutely most. The gaming for me is just an absolute side note. So many cool people going. It's going to be a great laugh. It's going to be great to catch up with Reese and Frankie from Frontline Gaming. They're coming all the way over from the US. Obviously they've got business with GW anyway, so they've been in Nottingham, I believe, and then we'll be going to Warhammer Fest over the weekend. So it'd be great to catch up with them. It'd be awesome. Reese, in particular, always greets me like a long lost friend every time I see him at the Las Vegas Open, which is absolutely incredible, and it's so cool for him to be over here on our territory, on our home ground, to kind of see him there. So I can't wait for that. Both of them absolutely top guys. It's going to be awesome to kind of catch up with them, because unfortunately they aren't going to be able to make it to the Northwest Open, which they really hoped they were going to, but just because of so busy schedule and a lot of other things going on, they're not going to be able to make it. But hopefully they will get to one of our tournaments in the future. But for now, that's kind of that's on hold. But yeah, so really cool. So many cool people. Can't wait to see all the Golden Demon stuff. There's loads of really epic painters that are getting involved in that. Can't wait to catch up with all the other YouTubers that are going. Just loads of friends and everybody that's sharing pictures on on Instagram. You know, how awesome is that? And I just can't wait to kind of catch up with so many people. So it's going to be so good. Of course, I am playing Age of Sigmar, and you know, I can't wait for that as well, because I have never played an Age of Sigmar tournament. I've only played probably just shy of about 10 games of Age of Sigmar at all. So I am relatively inexperienced with Age of Sigmar. I'm only really just getting the rules down to kind of to a fine art. I'm not 100% like really fluid with them. But I'm so excited to actually play a competitive game of Age of Sigmar, really competitive, and you know, and actually learn what the meta is, how it works, how far away I am from where I need to be. It's really cool stuff. Hello Nick. Nick's in the chat. Nice for you to join us, Nick. Actually managed to get over on time. Well done, mate. Well done. So yeah, it's gonna be such a cool weekend. Cannot wait. Gonna be epic. So on other news, we launched Twisted Dice. That launched last Sunday. So the first battle report has dropped, which is an epic encounter, 30k World Eaters versus Sons of Horus. When I finished this video, I'll make sure that there's a link in the description when this goes up, so you can jump over and watch that battle report and hopefully go and sub. But absolutely, if you haven't already, I haven't really spoke about it too much, so you probably haven't, but do jump over, search in Twisted Dice. Hopefully you'll be able to find us. You might not, but expect loads more links and stuff to come. If someone's cool, they might put a little link or something in the chat. If someone's really organised, maybe Nick, you do that for me, Nick. But yeah, so potentially we'll get some sort of link in there, maybe. But yeah. So Twisted Dice, as I said. So that we're here. We're up and running. Loads of cool content to come. Really excited about the channel. The boys Sean and Darren are so excited as well, so you should see loads of cool stuff coming down the line from that. Expect another video to drop in the next few days. There will be a video every week, he says, fingers crossed. That's the plan anyway, so there'll be a video every week. Probably a battle report will be every other. So loads of cool stuff. So epic. Yeah, Twisted Dice, just search it, Nick says. So yeah, hopefully you'll be able to find it. As I said, we've got one video up at the moment. Hopefully you won't be able to miss us. But anyway, so that's kind of news. As I said, very brief, and as always, it's a bit of a disorganised show tonight, so apologies, but didn't want to miss it out and make sure I get to you. So before we talk about 8th, and because we can talk all night about 8th, I'm going to talk a little bit about what I'm going to take to the Age of Sigmar tournament, because there may be some Sigmar-y type people in here or watching it back potentially, and you might be interested in what I'm taking. So what I'm taking is I'm taking Skaven, I am taking Clan Skyra, which are the kind of engineering clan of the Skaven race. Very much specialising in warpstone, in crazy contraptions, in a lot of shooting-y stuff, just mad, crazy inventors, and use the kind of warpstone for kind of magic abilities. So there's warlocks and all sorts of crazy stuff. They're a really fun kind of Skaven clan. So I'm going to take the majority of my army comes under a battalion, so I'm going to take the Clan Skyra battalion, which consists of 2 engine covens and a arch warlock. So that's what you have to take. It's a little bit like a 40k decorum in the 7th edition, if you like. So to kind of build it, you need almost like 2 formations within a formation. So you have to take an arch warlock. So I've got my arch warlock, which is this guy here. So probably won't be able to see it on like a webcam. There's more pictures to come, but he's pretty cool. So he's like he's a magic guy. So he's a wizard. He can chuck out quite a nasty spell. He's pretty handy in combat. He has an awesome save, which is great because in Sigmar, good saves are quite hard to come by. So he has a 3-up save. So you stick him in cover, and he's actually then got a 2-up save. Really resilient guy. Quite a few wounds, and as I said, he's good in combat. And his power allows him to hit 3 separate units. And potentially take D3 mortal wounds off 3 separate units at 18 inches. That's really cool. I think the secret sauce with him would be to put him on a Bale Vortex, which basically doubles up his distance for his magic powers, and which would make him very offensive, but I couldn't afford that. It's 1750, so it's a little bit smaller points than you normally play in Age of Sigmar. You normally play 2k. So I've had to kind of tailor it to a smaller points value. So we've got him as the general, and then as I said, it has 2 engine covens. So the first engine coven I've gone for is the I don't know the names of them, but basically it's the warp lightning one. So you get a warp lightning cannon, and you can have 1 to 3 of these bad boys, and they're a wicked unit. So they're very cool, and you have to have a warlock. It's the cheapest formation of the list that you can go from, and it's pretty good. So the warp lightning cannon is very effective, and the warlock's just a decent guy. So my warlock is, let's get the warlock out so you can see a warlock. So that's my little warlock dude. Again, as I said, you're not going to really see him. Let's try and put him up there. See if you can. Is it going to focus? Probably not. No, you're just going to see a blurry rat there. But so we've got a warlock and the warp lightning cannon. So that's obviously going to have to sit at the back of the board. The warlock, he's pretty decent. Again, he's got a nice little spell that again you can do mortal wounds, which is handy, and he can also do mystic shield. So he can like mystic shield the arch warlock, give him a 2-up save, or do a different kind of offensive power as well. So he's a decent guy as well. So that's one of the formations within the formation. Then I've got the basic, I'm going to call it the digger formation. It's got a special name. I'm just looking at the chat. People are saying lots of cheese and stuff. So yes, I'm going to call it the digger formation. I don't really know what it's called. And what that consists of is a warp grinder, which is this little fella here, and it consists of 1 to 3 units of storm fiends. And a storm fiend is the huge, great big ogres. So the rat ogres, but they're like a army Swiss penknife. You can equip them with all sorts of different shooting, combat, all sorts of offensive weapons. They're big guys. They've got quite a lot of wounds. So they've got 6 or 7 wounds depending on how you kit them out. And they're really solid unit. So there's 3 of them in a unit, and they'll cause some damage. And then so you can have 1 to 3 units of them, and then you have to have 1 to 3 units of either the warp flame throwers or the mortars, I believe. But you always want the flamers. So, and this is what the flamers look like. So again, you're not going to see much on there. But there's the warp, what they're called, warp flamethrowers, I believe. So what have I gone for? So I've gone for 2 units of Storm Fiend within that part of the formation, and I've gone with them all having warp flamethrowers, and then I've gone for 4 of the flamers. And what that formation does, so let me kind of go back a little bit. So the lightning formation, that first one, means that you can actually fire the warp lightning cannon in the hero phase as well as in the shooting phase. After you've fired the warp lightning cannon on a 1, 2 or 3, so you roll the dice on a 1, 2 or 3, you take D6 mortal wounds. So it's very risky, but potentially shooting a warp lightning cannon twice in a turn is ridiculously powerful. So that's very effective. The magic, though, comes from the other formation, so what we're going to call the digger formation, for the sake of argument. what that does is, instead of deploying it, you can say that the formation is building an elaborate map of tunnels under the board. And if you do that, you don't deploy them, and then any hero phase, any of your hero phases, you can declare that they're coming up. And when they come up, what you do is you place this little fella anywhere on the board, and then the rest of the units have to deploy within 8 inches of him. Now the slight caveat of that is I have to be 3 inches away from an enemy unit. If they deploy within 3 inches of an enemy unit, then they take D6 mortal wounds. So that's pretty nasty. So it does mean that you can risk it. So with the Storm Fiends, you can chuck that unit actually in combat, bring it up actually in combat, and then just take the D6 mortal wounds. Chances are you're going to get 3 or lower, or 3 or higher, who knows. But let's go with an average on 3. So you may take 3 wounds on one of your Storm Fiends, but that gives you the ability of absolutely being right in your enemy's face. Now, so that's what the benefits for the 2 formations are. So I've gone for 4 of the Flamers and 2 units of the Big Rats. Now the Big Rats have all got, the Storm Fiends have all got the Flamethrowers. Now the Flamethrowers all do 2d3 mortal wounds each model. So that's pretty crazy. The Flamers do d3 mortal wounds each, but you can overcharge them. If you overcharge them, you roll a dice, and on a 1 they take d3 mortal wounds. Anything other than a 1, and then they do d6 mortal wounds on whatever they target. So the keen-eyed and the keen-minded, and potentially people that already know it, 'cause it's not a massively new thing, will kind of work out that how this is working is you're springing up right in the enemy's face, and then you're doing a ton of damage, an absolute ton. So on average, you're going to probably do about 25 to 30 mortal wounds when this formation appears. That is ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. There's ways to counter it, 100%, and it isn't the hotness at the moment. It's quite an old formation, and there's a lot of armies that can deal with it pretty effectively. But if you're not sort of geared up to deal with it, that hit will take out 2 or 3 behemoths, 2 or 3 big monsters. It'll take out some characters. It will decimate units. That's where it's awesome. And then obviously you can charge again afterwards, cause more damage. So the unit itself is just ridiculous, absolute ridiculous. So that's the list. Oh, I say that's a list, but there is also, I have to make up my compulsory 3 troops choices, because the army is consisting of all clan Skyra. I have to take I can take these guys, which are acolytes, Skyra acolytes, which are excuse me, I got a really tickly throat. Should have brought a cup of tea up with me. These guys all have like poison little walls. They haven't got a massive threat range, and they're very paper thin light armour. But if they hit you, they really hit you. But they're a cheap unit, 60 points. They make up my 3rd troops choice, because I'm all clan Skyra. I can take the Storm Fiends as my battle line, which is an awesome thing as well. So that's kind of the list. How do I expect it to do? I really don't expect to win very many games. I mean, it's a good list. It's strong. But I don't really know the competitive scene. I'm not a veteran by any stretch of the imagination at Age of Sigmar. And this army doesn't do well against like swarm, against like mass infantry. It really struggles with that. There's a few things that have kind of almost got like a intercept now in Sigmar. I think the what they call the Sigmarines have got something that can deal with them. Excuse me. So there's a lot of armies that can deal with them, can cope with that ridiculous ridiculous alpha strike. Wow, I'll tell you what, it's hot tonight, guys. It is hot. Yeah, if you're not in England, you'll probably go, it's not going to be hot. But for us, particularly after after winter, springtime, when you're kind of used to wrapping up all the way through to the end of May, it's really hot here now. It's a muggy evening. So I'm going to go for, so out of this tournament, I'm going to play for potentially 2 wins. If I can come away with 2 wins out of 5, I'm going to be really, really happy with that. For a first tournament in Sigmar, I think that'd be awesome. If I can get anything more than that, it's going to be an absolute bonus, but I don't expect it. So, but yeah. So if you know Sigmar, if you kind of, you've got comments on that, if you think, want to know about the list, or you kind of think it do well, won't do well, I'd love to hear in the chat. So chuck it in the chat, let me know how you think I'm going to get on, what you think's good about the list, what you think's bad. Have I made a massive mistake? Potentially not too late if you tell me now. So that's the Warhammer Fest, and that's my list. So hopefully that's interesting for you guys. But now let's jump into probably the main event, which is let's talk about 8th edition. So 8th edition. Now hopefully you're not bored of this, guys, because let's be honest, we're all getting a little bit sick and tired of the build up. It's been relentless. It's been exciting, but it's also been a bit, it's been a bit grueling at times, because we just want this edition. We absolutely want it now. And it's long due. So they released this week, as I said earlier in the show. So it's going to come out. You're going to get 5 books. Let me just see. You'll get there's an Imperium book, a Chaos book, 2 Xenos books. Is there 2 Imperial books? Might be 2 Imperial books. Anyway, you get the idea. So you've got these books dedicated to the different parts, to the different armies. So you've got some of the armies grouped together, and these books will give you the information. We think they'll probably give you points. I think they'll give you more of the kind of the General's Handbook style for these armies. Give you maybe a few sort of, not formations, but a few sort of special rules and stuff in there. So it's slightly different from Age of Sigmar. They're not doing it in quite the same way. There's going to be 3 rules we hear. So you'll get kind of the basic rules, but I think, to make you buy the rule book, because there's a big rule book as well, and to buy these indexes, they're calling them, they're going to leave out massive holes in the free stuff, because they're going to need to do that to make sure you buy the stuff you need. So that's really interesting. These books are fairly cheap. I think they're only like £15 each, I believe, something like that. So it soon adds up if you need to get them all, and I think a lot of people want to get a lot of them, so you're soon going to pay quite a lot. But they're relatively cheap, particularly codex for kind of codex type thing. The book's a great big hefty book as well, and that's £30, which is cheaper than we've seen rule books for quite a while. So there's definitely some decent prices there. And then of course they're bringing out a new box set, because they're always going to bring out a big box set. Now the big box set is going to be Space Marines versus Death Guard. So exciting stuff there, because we'll expect to see more Death Guard stuff come around the corner. So potentially Mortarion. I think you're going to have to see Mortarion soon, surely. Fingers crossed. But the Marines are going to be the Primus Marines, and now we've seen them close up. So there's a great big captain in some awesome looking armour. There's jetpack guys. The jetpack guys look really cool. I'm just refreshing my chat, guys, see if I'm missing loads of stuff, because I probably am. Have a look at the chat. yeah, so Nick's saying two imperial indexes. He's also saying it's £35, so £35 for the rulebook, which is pretty cool. And then for the Tsar, I think. Don't know how you say Tsar. Anyway, thanks for joining us anyway, matey. Much appreciated. But yeah, Death Guard is not crazy on the Death Guard. I'm not really set on the Death Guard at the moment. I'm a bit kind of umming and ahhing about them. They might grow on me a bit, but I'm not sure about them. They also look pretty big, especially the character guys look beastly. So it's cool. So Johnny's saying rumours says the captain's armour might boost his toughness. Well, that'd be quite cool. So that's your kind of your setup, if you like. So that's what you're getting in the box. And they are without a doubt. There's some really detailed, great looking plastic models. So very, very exciting stuff. So then on top of that, so we know that that's going to launch. That will launch next week. But then we've got more and more of the, not rumours, but the little tidbits coming out from both the army kind of army teasers, let's say, as well as some information on different parts of the game and some really exciting stuff. So we've now seen Tyranids since we spoke last. So happy with that one. It's just crazy how myself and Sean were playing Guilliman versus Swarmlord on Warhammer TV only 3 weeks ago, and now we're seeing the new stats for Swarmlord, and he looks the real deal. I would love to play that game again with a new Swarmlord versus the new Guilliman. I reckon the Swarmlord would have him this time, put it that way. We don't know all the special rules, but the Swarmlord looks the real deal, so that's great. Sounds like he's got some exciting psychic powers as well to allow his movement to be incredibly fast. Hopefully he'll be able to be surrounded by Hive Guard as well, or Tyrant Guard, make him even more survivable. As well as sounds of things, the way like command units work is they can kind of take wounds from the big guys, if that makes sense. To stop them being sort of sniped out by sniper guys. So the Swarmlord looks the real deal. He looks awesome. Also, on top of that, they spoke probably about 2 days earlier about reserves, and they talked about the Trigon. And again, so exciting. Trigon's going to be awesome, which is brilliant. So we don't know what's going to be with the Morlock. The Morlock should be interesting as well. So cool. Hormagaunts and Gene Stealers, they talk about Gene Stealers. Gene Stealers seem immense. They say they're one of the top 3 combat units in the game. Who doesn't want to see Gene Stealers on the board? So that's great. So from a Tyranid player's point of view, I am going mental and excited as hell to get Tyranids back on the board and get using some different stuff. Put the Flying Hive Tyrants away. They can stay in my cabinet. They can see... there's 2 back there. They can sit back there and they can stay back there because I want to use different stuff. I'm really, really excited about using different stuff. It's great news. So that's ever so cool. Hi Will, thanks for joining us, matey. What were we saying about Morlock? I must admit, Nick, if you haven't seen Nick's one of his last videos on 8th edition, it's a hilarious video. Again, if I can remember, I'll put it in the description below. But seen a lot of these 8th edition chats and kind of reviews. But if you want a good chuckle, go and watch Nick's one because it's hilarious. It's hilarious. I've got nightmares of you, Nick. So I'm not going to spoil it. You just need to watch it, guys. You need to watch it because it's so bad it's good, and I mean that in the nicest possible way. But it's worth a watch. It's gold. Hello, Graham Collins, the legend. Yeah, so do watch it. So if you haven't if you've not watched much of the 8th edition stuff because you're a bit sick and tired of it, and maybe you're bored of even listening to me right now, and if you are, I'm sorry, because I know we're all a little bit sick and tired of this 8th edition bandwagon. I get it. And we're all trying to cash in, so all us YouTubers are kind of throwing 8th edition down your throat. So, you know, you're excited to kind of stop seeing that 8th edition thing popping up as much as we are. We just want to get on with it. But if you're sick and tired of seeing that and you just want something that's a bit refreshing, I heavily recommend you go and watch Nick's 8th edition review, because it's funny, it's a laugh, so it's good stuff. So as I said, so we've heard a lot about Tyranids. We today heard about Orcs. Orcs sound really cool. Sounds like a lot of the problems that they have currently absolutely going to be dealt with. They sound like they're going to be able to compete, and they sound like they're going to be scary, which is what we all want. Everybody loves Orcs. They are like, they're everybody's second favourite army. Like, literally, you name it. You ask somebody, what's my favourite army? Oh, I love Space Marines. What's your second favourite? Oh, I love Orcs. Everybody loves Orcs. And it's only really the bravest among us that have kind of fought on playing Orcs through the tough times, because up to date, even really, to be fair, in the last 6 or 7 years, they've not been scary. They've never really been good. You've had to play them in very set ways, a little bit like Tyranids, but even to a greater extent. They are just a really poor competitive army. Awesome, cool army, but very, very difficult to play. Very unforgiving, and they just don't stand up in 7th edition. So the thought that they're going to be good sounds awesome. Absolutely awesome. So fingers crossed they are the real deal. I can't wait to see if that's the case. I would love to see Orcs at the top of the pile. I would not begrudge them that for one moment. So that's really, really cool stuff. So what else have we talked about? They talked a little bit about, in one of the videos, and the guys from Frontline Gaming were talking about it. I watched a video about a couple of days ago, which I thought was very interesting, because obviously they're the guys that have been playtesting it. So it was in one of the ones about Cities and Death and Stronghold Assault. So what they've said is, in the new edition, ruins, vehicles and monsters will not be able to walk through walls. So they won't be able to just smash through a wall. So if you're an infantry model, if there's no room for a monster to actually place their base on a ruin, and there's no kind of opening for them to go through, they cannot just walk through a wall, which is very interesting, because you're going to get a very different dynamic there. So vehicles and monsters are going to have to go around ruins. They're going to have to find a line of sight through the ruin to try and hit the guys inside, which is going to make a very different dynamic to what we currently see. The more I watch the reviews, the more I kind of read in between the lines, and the things that I've heard, I think infantry are going to be very, very powerful in the new edition. I really do think they will. So I think, they're one to watch, and I think there's a lot of tools in place to try and make them play very differently than they do currently. I thought that was very interesting. What else have we been hearing? So there's been rumours drop over the last couple of days of Berserkers. Berserkers sound like they're going to be one of the most awesome units in the game. The Berserkers sound like they will be able to pile in twice, so basically attack you twice each combat, which, if that's true, will really make them good, because we know they're going to have a lot of attacks. They sound awesome. They sound absolutely awesome. And wouldn't it be cool again to see Berserkers, a unit that's ultimately been poor in codexes for quite some time, be right up there with, as you'd expect Berserkers to be in the fluff. So really, really exciting stuff. So I've done enough talking. Let's kind of take some questions, and I want to listen to what you guys have got to say about 8th edition, what you're looking forward to, what you're worried about, because I don't know, I'm not worried anymore at all. I've got no concerns, but maybe that's just me. I'm a massive fanboy and I'm really sold on the new edition. But what are you guys worried about still? Are there some things that some bits that are getting on your nerves, some things you're concerned about, or what you're excited about? Let's take some answers. Right, what have we got on here? Gotta love Orcs, absolutely. Let's be honest, you only play Orcs for comedic value. Well, you do at the moment, Graham, so hopefully that will change to a degree. And converting, yeah, absolutely. Everyone loves converting orcs. All the building, or just if you are playing Cities in Death, all ruins, Nick. But all ruins, and because even the guys from Frontline Gaming said it was quite hidden within the article, and they kind of clarified it. They said ruins, full stop. You cannot walk through a ruin unless you are a infantry model. So you can't walk through a solid wall. Where are Necrons? So we've not heard from Necrons yet. So maybe they're saving the best to last. Who knows? I think. What's my guess? I think we're going to see all. We must see all the main factions before the drop. We've got to, surely. Really excited to see Harlequins transport in Sneaky Peaks. Really excited to see the Harlequin transports. Yeah. So again, the fact that like your transports are going to be able to attack in combat, which is a bit funky, but you can kind of work it out in your mind how it works. The pilot's kind of hanging out the wall and hanging out the window and it's ramming you and all sorts. So I can kind of make sense, but it's potentially going to give the lightweight armies like Dark Elder and Harlequins an opportunity to use those vehicles a lot more effectively. Will, opposite to Nids flying up, looks like Tau are buggered, we reckon. 8th looks to be super close combat heavy, something Tau have always been not very good at, let's say. Yeah, rules say Crisis can fly out of combat, but they need to survive. I won't worry about Tau, I just think that they will be brought back in line, so they're not able to just shoot someone off the board. I think we'll see a massive buff in their general shooting, so I think they'll shoot better without buffs, so expect them to shoot a bit better. I still think their big stuff's going to be great. Games Workshop want to try and level the playing field everywhere, so I don't think you've got anything to worry about with Tau. I still think they're good, but I just think they'll be brought in line. I think the power level of everybody else is going to join Tau, and Elder's going to come down. That's my prediction. We'll have to wait and see. Obviously, you know, it's all open, but ultimately, you know, I love Tau. But if they have to struggle for a little bit, potentially, maybe they've had their little time in the sun, and it's time for somebody else to kind of take the limelight. 16-inch move means first turn charge for Harlequins. Absolutely. What's your initial thoughts on Northwest Open? You taking Nids or not playing? Can you resist? That is such a good question. I'm struggling to resist, but I am resisting. I will not be playing in the Northwest Open, but I will definitely be trying to pack in as many games on the Friday night as I possibly can. So if you're coming along, Will, I know you're umming and ahhing a little bit, but if you're definitely coming along, then of course we've got a game. I'm looking forward to playing you. Don't know what we'll be playing, but that should be fun. And I've got some other games planned as well, so I'm looking forward to getting my hit on the Friday night. And who knows, if this game's as quick as potentially it could be, might even play some games after on Saturday. Who knows? But no, I'm definitely not playing. I didn't enjoy the Last Chance Open from a personal point of view, even though the event was better than Northwest Open by a country mile. I much preferred being less involved in actually playing and much able to kind of be around, deal with the rules queries, make sure everyone's having a good time and kind of do the role properly. I'm definitely not going to play, but Christ, it's tempting. I'm so like, I wish I could play. No, I'm not playing, Nick. Definitely not playing. Yeah, Orcs got focus. Choppers are similar to chainswords now with an extra attack. Yep. I really want to see what happens with Satan. I have 5 and would love to lay them all in one list. I think they'll be good. I think they'll absolutely be good. Hopefully less random. But yeah, I expect them to be powerful. They're awesomely powerful in the fluff, so you expect them to be good. As always, it's one of those things, isn't it? So the Ascendant Catan in 6th edition was broken. As you know, Nick, you had an opportunity to play it a little bit before they changed the rules, and it was stupid. But then they went too far the other way and made it they made them just too soft and too expensive. So expect them to probably get the points level that they deserve or the power increase that they need. What have I got? Do you think, from a personal opinion, it was fair to release all Ynnari books only to be void them just a month or two down the line? It's a tough one, isn't it? It's a really tough one. So it's not nice to find that your stuff is invalid so quickly after buying them. I totally get that. So the frustration bit is real, and yeah, it's really, really tough. But from a business point of view, Games Workshop couldn't just kind of stop 40k and not put any releases out, not continue to kind of advance the story and do stuff, and then just not do anything, not try and capitalise, because their business would just stop, and they couldn't just depend on Age of Sigmar for 3 or 4 months until they got to a stage where they really wanted to release 8th edition. So it's a really tough position for them to be in. It's a tough one. It is really, really tough. As I said not that long ago, I'm a fanboy, kind of deal with it. Particularly, I suppose, if you were like an Eldar fan, and you're a competitive player and you enjoy just playing filthy lists, you've had 3 months to destroy everybody and drink the tears of your enemies. So Christ, if you're a Ynnari player, you've had enough time to enjoy that, and now you can go back to Earth with a bang and suck it up. Close that. That's a bit harsh, but there you go. What else have we got on here? I'm sure you've enjoyed the LCO if you were clear-minded on the Sunday. I was not too bad on Sunday. No, actually, no, I was terrible on the Sunday. I was grim. No. No. Seriously. That's not going to change no matter what. Because I was still in the same position in the Northwest Open. So that's not an argument, I don't think. Yeah. But no, I just really seriously, I much prefer to be able to kind of be able to just like catch up with people and have a kind of mill around and really ensure that everyone's having a good time. And that's kind of what I really enjoyed, to take photos of the games and just see all the hard work that we've put in as a team at Wargames, and just watch it unfold. For me, that's kind of where the beauty is. So no. And also I feel, even though I still played hard at the Last Chance Open, I still think that I'm not going to go and win my own tournament. And you know how competitive I am. If I go to any tournament, I want to win it. And how stupid would that be for me to turn up and win my own tournament? And if I'm not going to do that, for me, there's no point in playing if you don't want to win. Even if you think the chances are you won't, you still got to want to, because that's the idea of a competition, kind of. What do you reckon here? What else have we got here? So, how many nightmares have you and Khan had about a certain little wolf? Quite a few. So that's another cool one. So the last video before this would have been the battle report that I released on Saturday, which was the last 30k game that I released, which was against Nick's 40k Space Wolves. And I'm not going to spoil it, but the result came down to the last roll of the dice in the last turn of the game. So if you haven't seen that one, jump over and watch it. Absolutely watch it. Watch it on either channel. So there you go. If you don't want to watch it on my channel, watch it on Nick's channel. But watch that video, because it was an awesome battle report, and voiced by the legend on my channel, that is Winter's SEO. So you get to hear the Winter's dulcet tones at the beginning of the game as well. So that was a really, really cool game. So, but yes, thank you, Nick. And I'm still having nightmares. I hope they don't phase out regular Space Marines. No, I'm totally with you there, Graham. I hope they don't as well. My gut feeling that they will, but I think we're a long way away from that. I think we're probably looking 5 years plus. But I think the reality is they will eventually phase them out, which is sad in a way. But that doesn't stop anybody playing with them. You know, ultimately, people still play with old minis today. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And Games Workshop have always been quite supportive of play with what you want, what you've got, even in a competitive environment. So fingers crossed that won't change that approach, and we'll still be able to do that. But it is a bit of a shame. I kind of agree with you. It will happen, and quicker than first predicted, I think. Fair enough. As long as they sell them, they won't phase them out. Yeah, maybe. I had a late birthday present from my mate. He had custom knit templates made just before 8th news. Killer. Killer. It's one of those things. I've got custom templates myself. You know, there's lots of stuff like that that's a kicker, but you know, that's life, isn't it? You know, it's not all great. We're not going to love everything, but we've got to suck it up as a community because nothing's going to be perfect. You're not going to please everybody. 7th edition is a car crash. I don't want to play 7th edition anymore. It's an awful game. Totally bloated, totally broken, not fun to play. Have to tailor every single game to make it playable without one player having a shite time. It's awful. It's horrendous. And the power creep way of sorting it does not work because it just means the people at the bottom of the pile just have the rough end of the deal. I feel so strongly about it right now. It's the game that I love playing the most. I have no interest in playing another game of 40k until 8th edition drops. The last game I played was at Warhammer World, and I'm very, very happy that to finish on that game because I have no interest in playing 40k at the moment. No, it's just terrible. So, God, thank Games Workshop for bringing us 8th edition, hopefully bringing us a game that we've been waiting for, and I'm all behind it. So, totally get it. There's stuff that is real kicker, and there will be things that we won't like. We absolutely won't like all of 8th edition. There'll be things that will really annoy us, but you just got to suck it up and you got to deal with it because it's got to be better than where we are now. Fingers crossed. I'll get off my soapbox now. What we got? There's always 9th. They'll probably have templates back. Maybe. Have I missed anything? Thank you. It was a good battle report. Depends how quickly the new ones get picked up. Yeah, I'm talking about the Marines again. Absolutely. Without thinking about it, shout out what you think. What you think going to be the top percentage winning army in 8th edition. Tyranids. There you go. I think Tyranids will be the best army. That's my gut feeling. I suppose that's hopeful more than anything, but I think Tyranids are going to be best. I think that Dark Eldar will probably be a close second, and I think Orcs will be a third. I think Space Marines will probably be fourth. I think Space Marines will just potentially they'll start off good, and then they'll probably get some further upgrades to their new Primus Marines, which will probably put them up there. That's what I'm guessing though. But I think every army is going to compete, and I think there'll be certain builds, same as in Age of Sigmar, certain builds that will put everybody in a fair place. So we'll see whether I'm wrong, but I'm going with Tyranids. Dumb questions. Are templates the same size in Age of Sigmar? No, Age of Sigmar doesn't use templates. Well, I don't plan to lose. I don't plan on losing with my Dark Eldar. Do you think it will still be possible to form any sort of Death Star in 8th? No. But there are dirty, horrendous combinations in Age of Sigmar that still that will still give you a thing like, things like a 2-up rerollable, but then you just have to pick off those units like individually. So I think the Death Star scenario will still work, but you will be able to reduce that Death Star easier. So it won't be so invulnerable. It will still be awesomely powerful. You'll have groups of units that become ultimately really ridiculously powerful, but you'll be able to chip away. You'll be able to chip them away, like tactically. I'm going to say, to be able to reduce that power and then get to them. So the Death Star, yes, is dead. That style of buffing stuff to be ridiculously good will continue, just in a slightly different format. That's my guess. What have we got here? What about guard? I don't know. I still think objectives are a big thing. I'm not sure how guard will do. We'll see. I don't know. I'm not a fan of guard, to be honest. I like the tanks, the little guys. Never done it for me. But then, I don't know. It's just my take. But who knows? The twin link thing does mean, we were talking about last week, that we were just thinking about how good a vendetta could be with all those las cannons. So wow, guard might be awesome. We'll have to wait and see. What's your shirt say? Iron Man. What else we got? I think guard will be pretty good against first turn charges. Yep. It seems speed is the top topic in 8th. Do you think that a turn 1 charge will be possible with every army? With pretty much every army, I would expect so. I think you're still gonna certain things will have to go in your favour, and you'll probably be able to counter it. But I think expect combat to be happening almost straight away, which is not a bad thing. Not cheesy enough for Ace. Absolutely right, Nick. Well, okay, so actually, this show's been going quite a long time. So we'll just see if there's any other questions. Otherwise, we're going to wrap it up tonight. I've still got a little bit of painting to do for Warhammer Fest. As I said, if you're watching this later and you're going to Warhammer Fest, then please do jump over and say hello. It'd be great to meet as many people as possible. I'm really excited about that part more than anything, so do say hello. But yeah, let me have a quick little check. What other things we've got? More stuff about just different units being better and worse and what have you. So I think on that note, thank you ever so much for joining us, guys. Much appreciated. Do catch us live Thursday nights, 10 o'clock. It's always a good laugh. But until the next Wargaming Weekly, thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you again soon. Bye for now.